I have come to realize that the majority of you don't actually need to find a clothing manufacturer to start your clothing brand. What a lot of you are looking for are wholesale companies that provide blanks for you to take and use for your clothing brand. So in today's video, we are going to dive into clothing manufacturers versus using clothing blanks to get started with your clothing brand. The aim of this video is to basically help you decide which path is best for you and to see what you can and can't do with both styles of essentially starting a clothing brand. My name is Taddy G, and on this channel I like to share what it's truly like to run a clothing brand, especially here in the UK, as well as trying to drop tips, tricks, gems and all of that good stuff when it comes to running and owning a clothing brand. So let's start with working with a clothing manufacturer. Now I'll be real, a lot of us actually aspire to get to the point where we are able to custom make our garments. However, in a lot of cases, we actually don't need to go down this path immediately. There are other avenues that we can go down that will probably work a lot better for us than this particular avenue. But let's dive into it anyway. So a clothing manufacturer is essentially a company that's going to be able to produce your garments to the specification that you want them produced to. So typically you're going to have to send them a tech pack so that you can explain what it is that you want manufactured. There are two main types of clothing manufacturers that you will find in this industry, and the first one is called FPP, which stands for full package production. For the purposes of this video, that's the one I'm going to be referring more to, but the alternative type of manufacturer is the CMT factory, and that stands for cut, make, trim. So essentially they'll cut the fabric you've provided them, they will make the garment, and they will trim all the excess thread and basically bring you a finished garment. So now an FPP factory is a type of manufacturing company that will actually take you through the entire process of producing your garment. So it is the preferred type of factory, especially for people that don't have enough knowledge about the clothing industry. But what I will say is, even if you're starting out, please try and educate yourself about the industry. That's why I've got this channel for you guys. I have so many videos that will help you sort of get started and get a better understanding about this clothing industry. So an FPP factory will help you with sourcing fabrics, sourcing trims, making the patterns that they're gonna go on to use to create the garments, giving you expert advice on different things that you may not necessarily know about. And at the end of it all, you will come out of it with a fully made range of garments for your clothing brand. And some of these FPP factories can even help you with the design process and the creation of your tech pack. I do, however, have a complete tech pack guide available on my website taddyg.co.uk. Now let's dive into working with clothing blanks. Now, working with clothing blanks or a wholesale clothing provider is a great alternative to actually working with a clothing manufacturer. This is when you find a company that has pre-made garments and you add your customizations. So typically it's either you're gonna embroider your logo, you're gonna screen print your artwork, or you're gonna DTG your artwork. It's honestly completely up to you. And there are loads of big giants within this space, so the likes of Gildan, Fruit of the Loom, American Apparel, just a couple off the top of my head, and of course the blanks brand that I am looking to start, but we're not here for that today. So how can you actually assess what's right for you? The goal of my videos is to give you direct answers to direct questions. I feel like that should be my motto. Taddy G, direct answers to direct questions. So which of these two is actually right for you? Which avenue should you explore? There's quite a few parameters that we need to look at in order to make a fully informed decision as to what is actually best for you as somebody starting a clothing brand. So straight off the bat, anyone that chats to me, if they tell me, okay, my first range is going to consist of t-shirts, hoodies, crew necks and that sort of thing, I straight away say don't even dabble into the world of manufacturing. There's absolutely no need. Working with blanks is honestly good enough enough. And especially now, there's a range of blanks brands out there that even produce really good quality blanks that you would be happy and comfortable selling at a relatively premium price to your customers. And the great thing about working with blanks is that it's cost effective. There are low startup costs. It's great for those of us that have little to no experience. When I started my clothing brand, Shiva, which the server is currently down, which is really bugging me. I'm trying to get it fixed, but anyway, when I first started Shiva, I definitely worked with blanks, and it was a lot easier and there was a lot less thought that had to go into it. I needed to know a lot less. It is lower risk, and I think one of the biggest positives of working with blanks, besides the cost effectiveness, is the fact that it's consistent. So say you go on to buytshirt.com and you decide you're going to buy the Stanley Stella Sparker t-shirt. You know that every single t-shirt you're going to get from Stanley Stella, it's going to be good, it's going to be consistent, it's going to be good quality, it's reliable. You don't have to worry about, you know, sort of like checking through all your stock, because you know somewhere down their own pipeline they have already checked that stock before it's gone to the stockist, and then I'm sure the stockist has even checked the stock as well. So you can almost like guarantee that you are going to get a good consistent product. And at the end of the day, if you're only producing t-shirts, hoodies, crew necks, you are going to get the product that you want. But of course, going down the clothing blanks route does come with its limitations. Obviously, you cannot fully customize the blank, even if it's a t-shirt that you want. So you can't tell the blanks company that you want the sleeve on the t-shirt to be a little bit longer because it's already made to their own standard. What I will say though, which is a little tip that I will give you, if you're trying to go for like that nice like oversized fit, just because the size of the garment is medium doesn't mean you have to sell that garment as medium. You could sell it as a small so that it gets a little bit more of the oversized fit. So in that sense, it's a little bit customizable, but not fully customizable. So some stockists of these wholesale blanks do offer the service of relabeling your garments. So taking out the Stanley Stella label, for example, or the Gildan label, for example, and placing in your own label. But if you are ordering like say less than 100, which is like the typical minimum order quantity, you actually have to take those labels out yourself and sew that in yourself, which I would definitely say is a negative, because that is going to be incredibly time consuming. But what I will say is I've done it. When I first started working with blanks, I sat there at my sewing machine, one of those, and I sewed all of those tags. So it's definitely doable. And if you are using some of those lower end blanks, your customers will know. So take time and find blanks that are good quality so you don't get a bad rep for your brand. Honestly, if you guys are looking to start your brand like in the middle of this year, definitely my blanks should be out by then, and you can guarantee the quality is going to be A1. But given all those limitations, if you are a brand that is only starting off with those core products that I mentioned, the pros outweigh the cons, and you're better off going down this route. And to get started, you don't even need to use any money, to be honest. You can actually go down the drop shipping route if that's a route that you don't mind going down. So Printify is actually one of the only drop shipping brands that I've worked with. This is not sponsored by them, however I do have an affiliate link for them because I have worked with them in the past, just to be completely transparent with you guys. But what I do actually like about Printify is that they do offer like a really good range of blanks, including American Apparel, Biller and Canvas. I'm not sure if they have Stanley Stella, but definitely like check them out. And a really cool thing about the Printify website is that they have this like mock generating thing. I'll try and pop something on the screen so you can see, and you can actually see like your design mocked up in real life, and I feel like that's really cool. But if you don't want to go down the drop shipping route, I would say order a bunch of samples, order a bunch of blanks from different brands. So your Biller and Canvas, your Stanley Stella, your Gildan if you want. Order the samples and see what styles and cuts actually work for you. Not only do you need to assess the cuts, the styles and fabrics, you also need to check what t-shirt or what hoodie is going to print well or embroider well for your particular logo, if that makes sense. I feel like that English was a little bit dodgy. So say you want to embroider something, you're going to want to take that particular garment to an embroidery company and get that embroidered so that you can see whether it actually works for that garment, because some t-shirts might be too light for you to embroider, so it just starts pulling on it. So there's definitely a lot of testing that you need to do in order to find a garment that you actually like, that actually works for your brand. And one thing that I will let you in on, when I first started and I had like absolutely no money to do what I was doing and I had no idea about dropshipping, I would go on a website like buytshirt.com or plaintshirt.com, and whenever somebody would place an order with me, I would then hop on that website and place an order with them, next day delivery, get that delivered, print it myself at home and then send it to the customer. So it was like I was never quite spending my own money. So that's just a little bit of food for thought. The great thing about working with blanks is that there's ways to do it when you don't have money. But if you are looking to work with a manufacturer, you definitely need to have money. So in what instances will you need to work with a manufacturer? In what instances would I say, okay, you're probably going to need a clothing manufacturer? Well, even if you are producing those core products, sometimes, but rarely, but sometimes you might benefit from looking for a clothing manufacturer. This is especially if you are looking for those certain cuts or you are looking for those certain materials or GSMs. This is when I might say, okay, you might need to find a clothing manufacturer. But honestly, with a lot of research, you probably will find something close-ish to what it is that you're looking for specification wise. But having said all of that, you are definitely going to need a manufacturer if you are looking to create a fully customized piece of clothing. So this might be like a dress design that you have, or perhaps you've got this print that you've created and you want that to be on a shirt. There are particular types of garments that you would definitely need to fully customize. Working with a clothing manufacturer means that you can fully customize your garments. So that's colors, sizing, material composition. You can fully customize absolutely everything, and you are not limited to what you can produce. So you're not limited to what your core range of products are going to be. And the great thing about working with a manufacturer is that whatever you create is going to be unique to you because you've created that from scratch. However, of course, working with a clothing manufacturer comes with its challenges, I would say. It takes a lot more work. You are going to need to create a tech pack for sure, at the very least. You are going to need to have a basic understanding of fabrics, stitches, sometimes even construction, depending on what kind of manufacturer you're working with. It's not a case of just hopping online and ordering a t-shirt. It's a process. There'll be no such thing as a next day delivery or next day service. You're looking at like 8 weeks, 12 weeks. And some further challenges is that when you're working with a clothing manufacturer, you are probably going to have to go for a higher minimum order. So a lot of them start at 100. It's really difficult to find a manufacturer that's going to work for less than 100. And if they are going to work for less than 100, they're going to add their surcharge onto the garment. Obviously, manufacturing from scratch takes a lot of financial outlay. So the initial money that you part with is going to be quite a lot to start with. There is a likelihood of inconsistencies, so poorly made products, because you are working with a manufacturer, and this can just happen. And there is a high risk of working with a dodgy manufacturer. I've been there, and I'm sure a lot of people that have clothing brands can sit here and tell you that they have also been there too. And like I mentioned, it is a much longer process. You're looking at weeks. So for the manufacturer that I am currently talking to for my blanks, it's about 4 weeks for samples and then 5 to 6 weeks for bulk production. So really and truly, I'm looking at about 12 weeks, because then we have to count like the space between. Like say if I receive the sample, I'm not completely happy, we're gonna have to, you know, do a bit of back and forth. So it is a much longer process. So with all of that information, I feel like you are now in a position where you can actually sit there and decide what you think is best for you. I know the idea of working with a clothing manufacturer is just, you know, it's nice, it's great, the thought is amazing, the thought of being able to fully customize your garment is great, but honestly sometimes it's just not worth the stress. So guys, I really hope that you have enjoyed this video and you have learnt a thing or two, and you're in a position where you can make a fully informed decision. I want to take this opportunity to actually apologize for the audio in my past 3 videos, because honestly something dodgy happened with my mic, so I had to just use the camera audio, and honestly it really stressed me out. So I'm hoping I don't have any audio issues in this video. But yeah, please guys, definitely subscribe to my channel, like this video if you liked it. Let's talk about whether I've changed your mind in the comments. But yeah, I will catch you guys very, very soon. Bye.